Children, welcome to your Thursday Maths. Now, we're going to continue with our topic on time, and today we're going to be calculating the duration of time in minutes. Okay, let's start with our quick maths. Now, all you need to do is practice your number bonds to 20. So you may go ahead and pause the video now, and then I will reveal the answers in just a second. So come back and press play. Okay, revealing the answers time. So if you haven't yet done the answers beforehand, please do them now and then come back and check to see if your answers are correct. Okay, the first one is 15 plus 5 is equal to 20, 14 plus 6, 13 plus 7, and 12 plus 8. Okay, then over on this side, 8 plus 12, because we know it's commutative. And if we look over here, we know 12 plus 8 is equal to 20. So we also know that 8 plus 12 is equal to 20. 1 and 19, 3 and 17, and 5 and 15. So if you managed to get all of those correct, well done to you. Okay children, this is our key vocabulary for today's lesson. Now we have looked at most of this vocabulary throughout our topic of time. However, there are some new words that I've added today. We've got duration, which just means the length of time. We've got start and we've got finish. So they all go hand in hand really, because usually we have a start time and a finish time. If we're thinking of a race, for example, we would have a start time and a finish time, and the duration is just the time in between the start and the finish of how long something lasts. Okay, and this is something that we'll be focusing on in the second part of today's lesson. Okay children, this week we have been consolidating our understanding of time, haven't we? And more specifically, we've looked at the times o'clock and past at the first part of our week, okay? So we're going to move on today and we're going to think about this idea of quarter past and quarter to. Now, we know already, because we've done lots of work on this, we know that it doesn't really matter where the hour hand is pointing, because that just tells us the hour that it is. The minute hand is the one that tells us whether it's o'clock, whether it's past, whether it's 20 past, whether it's 22. So the minute hand really determines the minutes, how many minutes have gone by or how many minutes there are left to the next hour, okay? So if we're just focusing on that minute hand, if it's pointing towards the 12, then that means that it is o'clock. If it is pointing towards the 3, then that shows it's quarter past the hour, because it's on the past side of the clock. If it's pointing down at the bottom towards the 6, then we know that it is half past the hour. And if it is pointing towards the 9, then we know that it is quarter to. And they're the 4 most important ones that you need to know on our clock, okay? Now, you've got a little worksheet for your first part of the activity today. So what I would like you to do is I would like you to pause this video now, and I would like you to go and complete that first activity, okay? So it's got lots of different clocks, and it's practicing the idea of all of those things we've just talked about. So the idea of o'clock, quarter past, half past, and quarter to, okay? So you may go ahead and pause the video and you may complete that first part of the activity, okay? Away you go, children. Okay, let's develop your learning a little bit further now, okay? So we practiced that idea of the 4 main things that we need to think about on a clock. Now what we're going to do is explore that idea of duration. So remember earlier on when we were on the key vocabulary slide, and I said about that keyword duration, where we've got a start time, a finish time, and the bit in between is how long it takes, or the duration of how long it takes, okay? So let's think about this word problem that we've got on the screen. Jay started the race at 20 past 2. I'm going to go ahead and highlight 20 past 2 because I feel like that's a really important piece of information, okay? He finished 10 minutes later, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and highlight that piece of information too. What time did he finish the race? Okay, so we've got our start time, we've got our duration, how long it took, but what we're missing is that finish time, isn't it? So what we need to do is we need to think about how many minutes or hours it has taken Jay to complete the race, okay? Now, if I look at this clock that's on my screen at the moment, I know that that's showing 20 past 2 because look, if I do my minute scale around the clock, 5, 10, 15, 20, I can see that it's on the past side of the clock as well. So I know that it's 20 past. This hand is pointing at 20 past, isn't it? So it's 20 past 2 on that clock. And I need to now move my minute hand. I don't need to do anything with the hour hand, but I need to move my minute hand to 10 minutes later. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to count in my multiples of 5 until I get to 10, because that will show 10 minutes. And then I'm going to see where my minute hand will end up. Okay, so I'm going to do it on my big clock that I've got here. So let me go ahead and make 20 past 2 on my clock. Okay, so I've made 20 past 2 just like in the picture, and I'm going to move my minute hand 10 minutes on now. Okay, so I'm going to count in my multiples of 5 until I get to where I need to go. Okay, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Where is my clock pointing now? Pause the video if you need more time. Well done if you said that it would be 2:30, okay? Because the race would have finished at 2:30 because 2:30 is 10 minutes after 20 past 2, isn't it? Because if we look at this clock over here, we've got 5, 10 minutes, and that minute hand will be pointing downwards, won't it? Okay, so we've now got to draw that on our clock. So 2:30. Amazing. Let's look at another one. So here again, we've got another word problem. So let's highlight the key pieces of information. Ella started the race at 20 past 2. Okay, so that's important. She finished the race 20 minutes later this time, not 10 minutes, 20 minutes this time. What time did she finish the race? So again, we've got that start time, we've got the duration, and we're looking for the end time, aren't we? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make 20 past 2 on my clock again. There we go, I've got 20 past 2 on my clock, and I need to move it this time 20 minutes, don't I? So I'm not moving my hour hand, my red one, I'm moving my blue one because that's my minute hand, and I know that the duration is just 20 minutes. So I'm going to get my minute hand, I'm going to count in my multiples of 5 until I get to 20, and that will show me when I need to stop, okay? So let's go. 5, 10, 15, 20. So I can see there that my minute hand has moved to here, okay? Now if I look at my scale, I know that this is now pointing on the 2 side of my clock, isn't it? Okay, so it's pointing at the 2 side of my clock. I've also noticed something else. I've noticed that my hour hand is now in the middle of 2 and 3. So when we're looking at the idea of 2 on the clock, we're counting towards the next hour, and we know that when it was past, it was 20 past 2, so that was the hour before. So now we're looking at the hour that's coming next. So we look at the next number after 2, which is 3, okay? So now all we need to do is work out our minute scale as we go round the clock. So we've got 25 to, 22, quarter to, 10 to, 5 to. Did anybody spot where my blue hand, my minute hand, was pointing then? Well done if you managed to spot that it's pointing to 22. So we read this as 22 because it's to the next o'clock or to the next hour. It's 22, 3, isn't it? Because we don't go to the 2 because we're counting towards the next hour when we're on the 2 side of the clock. So we go towards that number 3 there because it's going to be the hour of 3 o'clock, okay? We're counting towards the hour of 3, okay? So this is the end time. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that on my clock now, okay? So I can see that my minute hand is pointing towards 8. Oops, my minute hand's pointing towards 8. And my hour hand is pointing in the middle of 2 and 3, isn't it? Because it's showing 22, 3, okay? Well done, everybody. That's quite tricky stuff. So well done if you managed to contribute there. Okay, now this is the second part of today's activity. Now I know that the past and the 2 sides of the clock, are quite tricky, okay? Some of us are finding it quite difficult, but that's okay, because what I'm going to say for this part of the activity is, if you don't feel confident with the idea of past and 2, then you don't have to complete today's second part of the activity. If you had difficulty with the first worksheet today, I don't want you to do this part of the activity. If you're feeling 100% confident with time, then I'd like you to have a go, okay? But only if you are feeling absolutely confident with it, okay? So what you've got to do is you've got to work out those end times using the same kind of method as what we've just done on the previous 2 slides. Okay, now just a top tip, for some of the clocks, they may be blank, they may have nothing on them whatsoever. Now what you need to do, if you get a clock which has got no hands on it, you'll need to draw the start times on them, okay? So you'll see the start times written in words, and you need to just draw the hands on the clock as well. It's just that extra level of challenge thrown in there for you, okay? And then when you come to the end of the worksheet, you will notice that our chilly challenge today is just to read some of the times which are 2 and past and 2 on our clocks, and you'll just need to write what the time is for each of those as well, okay? Now, I hope that you're all going to get on okay. I know that most of you are becoming time masters now, and you know, it's not easy completing time at home. It's not easy learning time in the best of times, is it? But even more so when you are learning remotely, okay? So I'm really, really proud of each and every one of you. Keep up your hard work, and I've got a really, really lovely time lesson planned for tomorrow, which I think that you are all going to enjoy, okay? So without any further ado, I'm going to let you get on with your second part of the activity. As always, if you need any help or support, then we are here to support you, so just give us a little message. Okay, bye bye for now, children. See you soon.